Let's do it live on a Monday edition. I am merely Bo, and he is Davy Crockett. How'd you do, buddy?
King of the Wild Frontier, baby.
Let's go.
It was.
Let's go.
It was good. It was good. You saw the video of me on the shooting
You look
clays.
great. You look very natural with the clays. It looked great.
Yeah, baby. Did you like that turnaround that hitting the baby?
I did.
Yeah, I brought a different level of panache to the group.
To the proceedings.
I was very much.
So for those just joining, Z was turkey hunting with the Hoff.
That's right.
So you played Olympia Fields Thursday, and then you traversed up to the Hoff's Great Expanse, and then you hunted the turkey.
First of all,
your first hunting trip.
First hunting trip. Going back to Thursday, real quickly though, I do have to give a couple shout out to some listeners of the program who were awesome. So I had the unfortunate luck of my flights on United to Chicago and then from Chicago both ended up mechanically delayed, and they were the only flights delayed of the whole day.
Perfect.
On the route.
Perfect.
But I want to say Jeff from United, who was I think he was like the supervisor of the gate agency, appeared to be a man of great importance, a luminary. He could not have been more helpful to me and was even exploring like radical options for me that I felt very, very touched by. And then Anna was there, and they both took like great care of me.
So when were you supposed to fly, and when did you?
We were supposed to fly. Sorry, I want to say it's like 8:45 was the original scheduled departure. Okay. Then it was
Thursday morning.
Okay. And then as I pulled into the airport, it was like noon.
Oh, baby. And that's not going to work.
No. The good news is they fixed whatever the mechanical issue was much faster. I think we ended up leaving at like 10 something. It was like
so it's fine because you're there by 9.
Yeah, I was still there at like 10, right? So it ended up being fine because I had to get to. But then out like 12 would have been a big problem because
you're not making.
I'm not making it.
No,
for what I needed to take care of on that day.
No, not
so
at all.
They were just again Jeff and Anna just got to give them big shouts. They were great. So got there. Great Thursday, had a great meal out in Chicago, but it was like crazy weather. I don't know if the weather was here. Here. Like, like the sky was yellow, trees are being blown like out of the ground right outside this restaurant in downtown Chicago. Like it was kind of crazy for a second, and then by the time we walked out of the restaurant, it was totally fine.
That hit us middle of the night.
Okay, yeah, nuts.
Middle of the night, Thursday night.
Yeah. So blew right on through, and then Friday got up, headed up to Wisconsin, and his farm's about an hour and 10 minutes west, slightly southwest of Madison. So it's in the southwest part of Wisconsin is where his farm is.
I always, in my mind's eye, pictured it far north. I thought that's the only where he could get that topography.
Like as the bird flies, it's only like 35 miles, I think he said, from Iowa.
Sure. Yeah, would have to be.
So, and it's a unique part of Wisconsin in that it has these beautiful rolling wooded hills. Mm-hmm. And so it was actually the last place in one of the areas on his property, which is a vast expanse, is like the last place that like the Native American Indians were able to kind of like hold out and maintain like a stronghold.
That's cool.
Because it was like it's all like wooded ridges, and then in between are valleys, which are now like crops and where the cows are and all of that. So they were able to like guerrilla warfare style be in the sides, and you kind of had to walk through, kind of like the ambush in Last of the Mohicans.
Sure, yeah,
so kind of that kind of topography where there's flats, but then it's like So he said that's very unique to Wisconsin, that topography.
Yeah,
so
that's really cool.
So that was very cool. So got there on Friday.
How far is that from like Chicago?
So door to door from north side of Chicago was about 4. From O'Hare was about 3:10.
Okay.
So that's terrible.
Not terrible, no.
Like you're into Wisconsin pretty quick. You're into like Beloit.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, we were in a lacrosse tournament that was allegedly in Illinois that might as well have been Wisconsin. Last year in Rockford.
Yeah, Rockford. I went through Rockford.
Okay, well as you're going, you see all the
Hard Rock Casino. You got there's a nice main drag.
Yeah, I spent a month one weekend there last summer.
I bet you did.
Yeah. I know all about it. Go ahead.
I was happy I just breezed through.
You just go, would have loved to have.
Yeah.
Just kept on going. No reason to stop.
Got there, and I walk in, and like the
Yeah, you went to the farm, right?
Yeah, we're at the farm.
Because this is the
So,
hunt.
like, I've decided now that the Hoff is like the John Dutton of Wisconsin. Now, obviously, the cattle herd is not as big as John Dutton's, but in terms of just like the property, the quality of the property, everything. I mean, it is a massive, we'll talk acres off the air, but it is a massive, it's massive. It's so beautiful. So you come in, and it used to be the room where we ended up, where everybody was at, was kind of like, that's where he stored all the stuff, all the equipment.
Yeah.
And then he like totally redid
like
it.
a Quonset, if you will.
I don't know what that is, but yes.
Yeah, the
And
big
if you're
building
saying
where you would store agricultural equipment.
Huge.
And
Yeah. Like,
that's a Quonset. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he turned that into now like what I would call like the bunkhouse. So
big bunkhouse.
So it's monstrous. You got a full kitchen, obviously TV, recliners everywhere. There are the massage chairs that I sat in, and it didn't happen to me, but everybody else who sat in then passed out, and some people like slept the night in these massage chairs, and they looked like it made you look not well when you were in the massage chair. It was like such a potent massage chair. It's just
amazing.
Hysterical. So you had that. You had, everything you could imagine, like 4 different pinball machines, foosball, air hockey, cornhole, darts, beer pong, everything set up in these giant tables where we could all kind of have like a mess hall. And then everywhere there's a billion deer heads. There's an elk head from the one that he just got last year. There's all kinds of stuff all over the walls, trophies and whatnot. It's just like cool. It's all wood paneled. It's beautiful. So then like there's one room, there's a huge walk-in as big as our studio, walk-in like cooler. And that's where like the birds, when I got there, I walked in there to get a water and opened the door and there were like 3 chairs, there's blood on the ground. I'm like, whoa. So I was like quickly like not phased by.
You're ready to go at that point.
You had to walk like
no choice.
Turkey's hanging here, like here, and you're walking into the cooler. Like, I mean, it's there.
They're right there, yeah.
It's there. So, so the place is just gorgeous. So there's up above on the second level, like above that, then there's a bathroom and whatever. Then there's a closet that's got everything you could ever imagine to want to put on to go hunting, broken out by season, and then also by what it is that you're seeking. Like if it's duck, if it's deer, if it's turkey, the appropriate camos, appropriate levels of layer.
It's like Cabela's.
There was a Cabela's safe in there. Yes, it was very much like Cabela's. And then above it was like 10 beds with like a little chill area with an Xbox and TV up top. Then there was a room that I was in that had bunks. So I bunked with Greco. So I'm on top.
Greco's in the mix?
Greco's on the bottom.
Oh, my God. This is great humans.
Yeah, Greco. Oh, yeah. And then there's like more bunks. Then you walk through and there's a full Wisconsin gym. And then he's got 5 more lazy boys around a fire and a TV and this cool chandelier that was like, he'll tell you he loves that chandelier. Then there's a locker room where like there's a full on everybody that looks like our like locker room down here for like everybody in the family that's there has their own locker with their own stuff all spliced out and the shoes and everything like in this like locker room.
Oh my God.
More bathrooms, more bunks, whatever. So ultimately I think like 25 people could have beds in this bunkhouse.
That's huge.
And it's all like beautiful. It looks like, to me, my eye, it looked like Amish, like the wooden bunks, like very cool. Dude. So I finally at one point I'm like, so this is why you played in the NFL.
Yeah, this is it.
So that you could have this.
Yeah.
And he's like,
nailed it.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, definitely.
Nailed it.
Definitely. Awesome. So there was like 2 private chefs who were unbelievable. This
is like a fantasy hunt. Is what this
dude,
is. It's a fantasy hunt.
Completely nuts. So we had Joey Bagels, who's his partner in Gotham Bagels, and Dan Bonanno. I hope I said that right. It's either Bonanno or Bonanno. But Dan was a James Beard semifinalist in Kenosha.
Okay.
So he was like, the food was so good. And I'll run through the menus for each night when we get to those points. But that's just kind of setting the scene. And like, so you look out the back, there's all these like fire pits. And to the left is a natural spring. That's one of the biggest springs in that area that takes out, this is what he said, 2.5 gallons a second roll through there. So no matter what, because it's constantly fresh water, because it's moving so quickly through the thing that it's always basically 50 degrees year round. Doesn't matter if it's 100 degrees out or if it's freezing.
Wow.
That spring's always 50 degrees.
That's pretty cool.
So on Saturday, I felt the spring. with my entire being.
Oh, you little ice bucket challenge for Dr. Z.
Oh, man, it was brisk.
That's cold.
Quite a shock to the system. So then, like, as you're driving into the left, he's got his Wagyu cows that he now has. Mm-hmm. There's a great area of Black Angus and some, like, American Wagyu, some beautiful brown spotteds, which he pointed out for me so that I could enjoy them.
Yeah,
so the brown spotted, to see him in person is really
something
a sight
else
to behold.
Yeah.
And then, like, as you're sitting
breed.
in the back, you look out, and that's, like, the first valley. And there's, like, probably, like, 10 that kind of come off, like, in fingers. There's one area where it's 5 that come to the middle, and they go off in, like, 5 different valleys. And then those are all kind of, like, tilled up now. And they had corn, they've had soy, they're crop areas. And then so the side of all of these is, like, just banked forest.
Yeah.
And so you could go through. So we did some hunting in the forest. We did some in the valleys. Because sometimes they would just be out there.
Sure.
But that makes it hard because you want them out there if you're coming up from underneath, because then you can get up before they see. But it's hard to, like, try to come down in.
Yeah.
So it turns out turkeys are very smart. Well, maybe not smart, but
they're instinctual.
They're very smart in terms of their own survival. Mm-hmm. And their eyes are crazy.
Yeah.
Because I watched one look at us, and we were supposed to be dead still, and, like, we had one of the people with us, like, went like this, and it was fucking gone. It was gone. Haven't gone. Good night, Irene. In the blink of an eye. Like your head like this. Gone. And they can run.
Yeah, they go pretty good.
They're kind of like, in my mind, like road runners.
They are.
When they get moving.
Yeah, they can hum along. Yeah, they can.
And then there was one that they were, like, toying with us a little. They'd be out in this field. We'd make our way up a little bit. Gone. We'd, like, pull back. They'd come back out in the field. We'd get to a point where maybe we could, like, because we're, like, up above, or we could get them. As soon as we got to the spot where we could maybe have a shot, gone.
So I've never hunted turkey. How close do you have to get? I assume you're using 12 gauge.
You want to be
shotguns.
Yeah.
12 gauge, I'm guessing. Like, what distance do I need to get to one of them?
Like, I think, like, probably that wall's probably the edge of where you maybe would want to be.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
like
you 30
yards
close. Yeah, you got to be close. Yeah,
okay.
Ideally, you want it around, like, 10, I think is what they said.
Oh, you got to get right
on it.
Right on it then.
So the way that they do that when it works, so you go out there, and Hoff has trained himself. And we had some of the guys there were guides. Like, there was a guy that was the international, I didn't even know it was the thing, like, turkey caller of the year. Oh. So he actually, his group got a bird.
Bet they did.
So the Hoff was unbelievable. He's got the call in there, and we had a box call. I was doing some box calling, and he's doing the calls. And, like, right away, the first time we go into this valley, and we get up in the side, and he calls, and immediately you get, like, a gobble back. And it's like, okay, like, all right.
They're in the
now
mix.
It's on. Now we're in the mix. So that's what you're trying to do is call them, and they gobble, and they come. It's like, I guess, their mating call. And when you hear it the first time, it's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So, like, you make the call, and then it's like, and you're like, oh, baby, like, all right.
Let's go, yeah.
So I didn't get to hear, I guess when you get real close, they do this thing called drumming, where it's like this bassy thing in their chest that's, you can't hear, but you can feel it.
Okay.
So I didn't get to hear that because we never got that close. But, so then you're trying to, like, lure them in. And so you set up the decoys, and he said sometimes, like, they come out if, like, when it all goes the way that you're hoping, they usually come out with 2 toms together, and they're brothers, according to Hoff. And one of them is there to, like, so you lay out the decoys where you have a hen that's on the ground, and then you have, like, a jake that's out there, and so they think, like, the jake's, like, beating them to it, which is, I guess, a young male,
young fellow trying to get in on the action.
Yeah. And, like, the 2 will come out, and, like, when it goes well, it's just very easy because, like, one will spend literally 20 minutes beating up the decoy, not realizing at any point that it's not a decoy. So then that's why I can't say they're smart. They're just very good at survival.
Yeah.
And then the other one will think that the hen on the ground is real as well.
It's go time.
And so then that's when success typically happens, or you have to come up on them where they're not supposed. Like, one group had given up for the day. We were out there for 5 hours.
Yeah.
Had given up for the day, and they're walking back, and, like, they come up a hill, and they just heard one that was, like, it was right up there, and so they just, like, literally popped up and got it. Like, no, they didn't hunt it. They didn't draw it. Just pure luck. And that was the one that they got. It was a 27 and a half.
That's
pounder. Big one. Big spurs.
Big. Yeah, big guy.
Big beard.
Look at you. You got spurs and beards.
Yeah, I picked up some. I picked up some lingo.
Yeah, I like it.
I picked up some lingo.
That's good. I do like in nature the idea about the hunt being that like they think that they're going to go have a really good time.
Yes.
And
that's the part that makes it sad for me.
I actually view it the other way. Like if that's your last thought and then lights out, not so bad.
Not so bad.
There could be a way that would be even better.
In a break, I'm going to tell you some of the
It's
ideas I came up with late night that got a lot of people. People were really into some of my ideas to how we were going to get these birds more effectively. But it was super fun. Just being out in the nature like that and kind of being out there and seeing one of the guys, Brian Cavalier, who lives there, great dude, awesome dude. He kind of said the night before, he's like, what's going to be really cool is like you're going to like watch the world wake up.
Oh, yeah.
And like that was really neat, like having it be like dark and kind of silent, and all of a sudden, some birds are chirping and then more birds are chirping, and then like everything's kind of like the sounds. You just like, and you take a nap, and Hop said that's a big part of turkey hunting is being able to nap. So we did that, a little nap in the forest. But it was cool. What wasn't cool is, so Friday we get there, shoot some clays.
Yeah.
Which was good. I got the clip they sent you, or I got better at the end. I was actually much better with the an over under shotgun. I think it was like, or a top bottom. Maybe I think they called it an over under. So it's two barrels right on top of each other,
next to each other,
right on top of each other. It was like an old, I think Remington, where you like broke it, popped them in, clipped it back up, and then it was poof, poof.
And it was
two vertical barrels.
Well, what kind did you guys hunt with? Were they?
Well, most of them were singles.
Most
were just a single barrel.
Okay.
Yeah, this was like a double barrel.
But not.
But not side by side. Not like
the old
like
school,
Wyatt Earp.
Yeah, right.
No, like above.
Okay.
So that one, for whatever reason, the sight on that worked better for me, so I was able to get. But they have some that had like just like you look through things like a red dot. If the red dot's on what you're trying to get, it's going to hit.
Yeah, infrared scopes on those babies.
Which seemed pretty cool. So we did that Friday night. Ended up, having a great time partying. Had a great meal. Friday night was seafood night, so we had ahi tuna. We had crab cakes that were just like all crab, a grilled octopus salad, a paella, like that came out in this cast iron as big as this table, a paella with like chorizo and fish and all kinds of different stuff. All this crazy good food from like these two like renowned chefs. Joey Bagels, who's hilarious, huge Knicks fan, so the Knicks game was on that night. He was like weeping that the Knicks had gone on. And then we had fun like game to the morning, so I kind of jumped around. And then so Saturday morning is when we did the first hunt, and they're like, yeah, the wake up, you're gonna be pumped for this like wake up, this roll call. And I knew it was coming early, like you just know that intrinsically. Yeah. But we were up till probably like midnight. Hoff is a great Irish goodbye. He was just like, I'm going to bed. He goes out, okay, there are all these beds. This is his place.
Yeah.
Now this isn't one of the family stays. They actually have a house on property that's very nice over by the cows.
Yeah.
This is just, I think, for like almost maybe like for a turkey camp, but obviously they spend a lot of time there as well, so there's a lot to do. He goes out to sleep in a tent outside on the ground, no sleeping bag, and then it's like so cold, the wind's whipping because it was very windy, that the Hoff slept the first night in a truck.
I love that.
I'm like, this is your place.
You have all the beds.
What are you doing? And he's out there in a truck. So I finally followed, and he probably got out around 10, smart man. I got out. I was up, and there were people that were up later than I was, but finally, like I think 11:30 midnight. I'm like, okay, like I know this is coming. I got to try to get some shut eye. So go in there at 4 a.m. I am sprung to my feet, basically shocked out of bed. He's playing some German death metal at volumes that like it felt like this band was performing inside of my skull. So imagine whatever speakers that he has at their max volume. It's like dun 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 turkey. I don't even know what they're saying, screaming and like and this goes on for a half hour until everybody's accounted for. Like the music will not stop
until everyone's
accounted for, dressed in your camo,
ready to go.
Ready to go.
Oh my gosh! Is there no fear to scare off the turkeys that are in the immediate vicinity with the noise?
You're moving. We're
going a long ways away.
It is a vast expanse.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you're getting in a vehicle to go to the hunt. You're not
absolutely.
Yes.
And vehicles are going every different direction. We had some dudes who took like electric bikes and just went straight up the face of a mountain. I'm like, well, how's that work? What's going on right there?
My God.
So that's like amazing. The wake up. And you're just like, now I'm ready to hunt a turkey, I guess. And so we went out there, and the first foray, we had that immediate gobble. Never saw him. Nothing for like 5 hours. No more gobbles back.
You're not a coffee guy.
No, I had a banana.
And you're not a breakfast guy.
No, so I had a banana.
Suck down a banana and then
a banana, and I was it necessitated that I had a bite of a crumb cake. A little sop up whatever.
Need
was
something going on in there. Yeah.
So we went out. We didn't get that. Then we came back for lunch. We had a great lunch of all these like flavored burgies that him and the meat dad are working on. We got our poncho shirts, which I'm wearing. These are Hoff shirts. This was like one of the party favorites.
Wasn't that his buddy?
Really good.
Is it Colt McCoy, like one of the big investors in that company?
Possibly.
I think so. I thought that's where I remember asking him about it because it's a very Western look. Like it's like the type of my dad wears shirts like that, and that's kind of like a modern Western. But I think I want to say that it's a Colt McCoy.
It would make sense
as like a minority investor owner of.
I like it.
Yeah.
And my camo I got was Mossy Oak, which was like one of his like
perfect
camo people that the Hoff works with, and he's got a lot of Under Armour camo, obviously.
Yeah.
So then we had lunch. Everybody at that point took like a nap. Like people are just on lazy boys, like dead to the world.
Sure you are. You're on no sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then at like 3 we went back out. And in the afternoon, this is where I earned the name Eagle Eyes because I was like, bird over here. I saw a hen hide in here by its nest. Like I spotted that spot. I was starting to spot all kinds of things. And so in the afternoon, we probably saw 10. We got no gobbles, but these are the ones that were twinnists. They'd be out in the field. We would try to get like a flank on them. Then they're gone. And then as soon as we backed up, they came back out. And it was like super annoying.
It's a very cunning bird.
A very cunning bird.
Because, and one that feels to me like it gets hunted because the idea that they would almost toy with you guys, and then also know that they were beyond the reach of the weaponry.
Yep.
Because that's crafty. That's a crafty bird.
They're so good. Like I said, the eyesight like when you have to be still, like it means like.
But to also know that you're a predator, because
yeah.
like when I have turkey go through my backyard, they're not in any big hurry when they see me. They're not too worried about it.
Yeah.
So these ones, to me, would lead me to believe that they know that there are things to fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt. And I think sometimes when you hear and you're out there and like we didn't get anything, but Greco's guide got him something, and it's a very funny story. So Greco's been going for years and has been like I have the fever too. Like I'm desperate for a bird. Like now you've gotten your heart racing, you heard the gobbles, you've seen them. Wanted to get one, and I'll tell you my one moment where like if I was gonna have a shot, I had one shot at it, but I didn't for reasons I did not have the weapon with me at the moment. But so Greco's out there and gets one, and then they come up to it, and it turned out to be a bearded hen.
So that's the other thing I was going to ask. Is there a rule there where you only can get toms?
Yeah.
Toms only.
Yeah. And you don't want to get jakes, but that happens every now and then. There were a couple jakes they got. But yeah, hens you don't want because that's what keeps.
That's the way.
But a bearded hen's it's a
tough thing.
That's a tough thing.
How would you know? People think that they're always like in their full regalia, but they're not. They all look pretty similar from a distance.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes. Well, especially if it has a beard, you're
especially
thinking.
Especially if it has that. Yeah.
Yeah, so he got foiled.
So then, did he end up having to go to the Wisconsin State Penitentiary?
No.
Oh, thank God! Thank God! We can't have Greco go.
No, that's not. I don't think it's necessarily like to that level.
I think it is, but I mean, it's a bearded one. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
They're pretty.
It's not a
on
trophy,
rules.
obviously.
No.
Yeah, no. But there's There's no intention. There's no.
No, good Lord.
But it was pretty. It was really, really. It was really cool. But so they ended up, some of the people got some, as I said, that big one. It was fun. But so my one moment where I had it is all of a sudden we come up to this kind of valley and we come over this hill and we look and there's like 7 of them.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh man,
it's on.
So now we back up, get out, and now we're trying to come up. We stop where we were and get like into off this road where they're like, 100 yards ahead of us.
Yeah.
And so now we're trying to call them back because that's really how you get them is if you get them to call, then they'll end up like basically walking right to you. They wouldn't come. So I'm like, let me just go look and see. So I go up to behind this bush. I look and I can see that they're still there, but they're kind of moving up and to the right around. And I noticed that this road actually goes up and around to the right. So I'm like, I wonder if I go up this road, if it'll come to like around eventually where they're headed and the road maybe could.
Yeah.
So like the opening scene in Last of Mohicans, I take off through the grass.
Your 199th Chippewa.
Exactly. 32nd. Thank you. And I think it helped me be silent in this moment.
Of course it did.
So I go up and I'm kind of like low
Yeah.
and I'm like jogging up and I get to the point where it bends and I look around.
Yep.
And where the TV is a tom.
You're 5 feet? Like 10 feet?
Right like that, facing away from me. So if I had...
Oh, my gosh. You came up behind it?
Yeah, and I didn't have anything. So then I'm like, I get right down immediately, and I'm like,
yeah,
like, urgent, like,
anyone,
get over here,
come, somebody,
because they've got the weapons. I didn't have, I wasn't actually going to hunt it. I was there to be like in the mix.
Did you consider jumping on it and killing it with your bare hands?
Briefly,
yeah, because you're kind of close.
Briefly, no, like,
yeah, that's really close.
Yeah, like if it would have been the greatest story ever.
It still might.
Like if he would have if I had just walked back with, like, they would have been like, come on, you know what I mean?
What is going on?
Yeah,
Zegura got one of his bare hands.
Yeah, but I didn't. So by the time, and this is how good these things are, he was not in our direction, but just maybe he could hear them as they slowly came up. So I was down because I didn't want him to see me anymore. Sure. By the time they get there, we pop back up, gone, and gone silently,
vaporized,
gone. And so that was the last one. And then Hoff and I went out in the morning after a great Saturday night, which was, yogurt marinated chicken thighs grilled. We had all the skirt steak you could ever eat. We had this lamb thing that I don't even know what it was still, was unbelievable. Shrimp and Elmo's cocktail sauce. Oh, jeez. And then a vat of vodka sauce rigatoni. And a nice arugula salad, and so we had that. I brought a lot of the wine, so I was like the chefs are like, they're like, the wine guy, good wine guy. Yeah, I was like, I'll be wine guy. I got no problem with that. That's a good person to be. And then we had fun, and then fireworks show.
Why not?
Fireworks show, which was maybe the most impressive fireworks show I've ever seen in my life.
Better than the one that the Hoff had at Gervasi?
I think so.
I think the Hoff really likes fireworks.
This was like 20 minutes.
It's what we can start to figure out.
The Hall of Fame in Canton, there was one fireworks show allowed, and it wasn't at the stadium where the concert was.
It was the Hoffs.
The Hoffs.
It was at the Hoffs party.
Yeah. The Hoff likes a firework.
The Hoff loves a firework. It was like I was like, well, the Turkish are gonna be scared now.
Sure they are.
They're going to be pretty rattled
back. Yeah.
right now. What was crazy is when it concluded, and it was basically like 20 minutes of what, like if you went to your country club or your city fireworks show, it's 20 straight minutes of what would be the finale.
Just straight.
Just like 5 at a time. Boom, 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 boom. Like nonstop. It was nuts. Very, very cool.
That's amazing.
And then down one of the valleys, coyotes started just like
sure they did
howling and whooping it up.
Yeah.
And it sounded like there were a great many.
Yeah.
And if I were in those woods, I would be not pleased.
You're too big for them.
I'd still
They're
be
not
terrified.
coming for you.
I don't
They're
know.
like this big.
That many of them. I did spot a coyote, though, too. I spotted a coyote, and he looked at us. He's like, you guys are too far. You can't do anything to me.
You're not doing anything to me, man. Too far.
Yeah. It was.
That's a great job.
Super fun. Super
right, I
fun.
have a couple questions.
Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah.
A couple observations and then one question.
Yeah.
Observation. Needless to say, Hoff Hunt Camp is not similar to any hunt camp I've ever been to in all my years when I used to hunt.
I think it's ruined hunt camps for me.
Yeah, I think if this is your jumping off point, this is like if your first car were a Ferrari.
Yeah, that's what I felt like.
And you're like, well, it's all going to suck after this.
Yeah.
Because that ain't typical in any. That was a fantasy hunt camp you went to.
Yeah.
That is not in any way, unless you're at the Hoffs, what hunt camp would be. Number two, I love an Irish goodbye. That's how
Hoff's
I roll.
Elite at it. He says, I'm going to bed, and then he is gone.
A lot of time I won't even say I'm going to bed. I'll just go to bed.
Just go to bed.
And anytime that I see someone else who has perfected it, I have a great deal of admiration and respect, because when I see it done, I'm like, that's how you do it.
Yeah,
this doesn't have to be a big, long thing. I'll see you in the morning. I went to bed. That's it.
Yeah.
So I love that. Number three, this is a question. Did you see any other wildlife?
Yeah. So deer, coyote, the birds that you saw were like I saw an orange bird. I'd never seen that before.
Okay.
We had some mushroom foraging. There's like morels and
nice.
And I think chanterelles, he said, that were growing around. So we saw a lot of that. Lots of groundhogs. We saw like everything.
The wilderness.
Yeah, the wilderness.
Is there what is the apex predator
in that area?
Yeah.
It's a great question. I think we have Huff tomorrow, so you can
do we?
it with him. But I
great.
know he said that the turkeys are worried about bobcats.
Yeah. Oh, he has bobcats.
Yeah.
They're
And he said he's only
big,
seen
I've never
of
seen
them.
one in the wild, and I've never seen a bobcat in the wild.
Yeah. I don't know if there are bears. I think maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe a bear. A rare bear.
Like a black bear or something.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, probably not a grizzly. That'd be shocking.
I think a rare black bear. But I think that the bobcats, he said, and then obviously not an apex predator, but an effective one when it comes to turkeys and small things, raccoons, where he said and the coyotes get in the mix.
Yeah, yeah. Imagine a coyote trying to track one of them down.
It would be hard.
How silent they'd have to be to like get them. But of course, they're not just trying to kill.
I think they're
toms.
They're after
anything.
like the calves,
I bet they're after the little
turkeys.
Little turkeys,
yeah,
more than
little
anything
baby
else.
turkeys.
Yeah, I don't even. In all of our time, we always had coyotes around cows. We never had a coyote try to take out a cow ever, a calf, nothing, unless it was newborn and.
Yeah,
but moms would run them off. Mom cows would run them off pretty quickly.
That's what he said. Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, they're formidable.
He said, yeah, it was.
This is incredible. I mean, this is an incredible experience.
Oh yeah, then we did the cold plunge after the.
Okay, so how did
Saturday afternoon session?
Is that a ritual?
Yeah, so you go in.
What was the temp? Dayside temp. What are we?
It was not warm. We were in. It was high 50s and windy, which makes it harder too.
So what you guys had Saturday, that's what it was here Saturday too. It was awful.
Yeah, and not sunny like this.
No,
it was
kind of
definitely
gray
a little
and
bit
windy.
cloudy. Yeah. So when the sun came out in the afternoon, we actually saw a lot more of them. Like the morning, we didn't even see one in those 5 hours. We heard the first one. Within 5 seconds of us being out there in the first call, we got gobbled back to, and we're like, "Oh man, this is so on."
Yeah, we're on.
Nothing, and then nothing for the rest of the time.
All right.
And then the afternoon, when the sun came out a little bit, we saw a lot. We definitely saw a lot more of them.
Your first part of your Saturday morning is what the majority of my hunting career has been: is get up really early and wait and see nothing.
Yeah.
And then be like, okay, let's go have lunch, I guess.
Yeah.
And then let's go give it another shot in the evening. I mean, that hits home in a lot of ways.
You got to like the people you're with, and obviously I was
with my dad, so I didn't.
Right, so that makes it much harder.
Made a real pain in the
Yeah,
neck.
we had very fun conversations.
Guy's a crud.
And,
I mean,
a
million things I was doing wrong every 10 seconds.
It had to be your fault. That
Always
they were
my
coming
fault.
Around.
Yeah.
No, it just turns out they're very good at survival.
All right. Thrill of the hunt's pretty cool.
Yeah, when that first one
that's
gobbled.
When you were doing like the sneak around thing and like going on the ridge, like that's really fun. That's fun hunt.
Next year I'm going to get my tag or whatever I have to get, so that because like that would have been the moment, like, and that would have been, I feel like, the greatest story ever. Like if I had just decided I was going to go run through the forest to find it, and I did and got one, like on my first hunt ever, it would have been the greatest. But I didn't have the because I wasn't ready. I was there as more
the heartbeat that's happening
dude.
for you as you're traversing this, making up ground, trying to, and then all of a sudden you pop over and there it is.
I couldn't believe it. I almost like fell down because I was like, it actually is. It's right there, looking away from me. So I'm like, I
got it.
Yeah, and apparently they don't have good scent.
The eyesight must be unreal.
The eyesight is unreal. And their ability to detect movement. And he said it's not so much
obviously
that they...
not great at hearing, because otherwise they would have heard all the music and all that stuff.
That music would have been so far away.
Oh, this is much.
Right. This is in the evening. It's much later, so they would have forgotten that. But like they're used to like trucks driving through the area, so I don't think that scares them as much. I think it's more like the call combo with some movement in the brush that maybe shouldn't be there.
They're clearly conditioned to know that they're being hunted by you.
Those ones are.
Those ones are.
Yes.
Yeah, that they know that this is in the brochure.
Yeah, because I've seen like turkeys just camped out in like in this area in people's backyards, like
and they don't care.
without the fear of
they're
anything.
Quite aggressive, and they act like they own it.
Yeah,
in
right.
many instances.
Right. This is
so. What you just described with turkey is how like we used to duck and goose hunt. Back home. And they're the way that those turkeys you describe. Like if you get in a vicinity, they're gone. They're gonzo. Whereas here, you could walk right up to a goose, and they're not fearful of anything.
Yeah. It's interesting because those ones are literally they're survival of the fittest. They're like in that nature mindset. And he said they don't even really sleep that well because they're constantly, they're up in their roosts, but raccoons and bobcats are trying to go up and snack on them while they're sleeping.
That's fantastic.
So they're a skittish bird by nature. And he's like, basically anything that just seems like a little bit out of the ordinary to them, they're like, I don't care, I'm out.
I'm good.
Yeah. I'm out. So we had one, so we went out for like 30 minutes on Sunday, and we made a call, and we got a gobble, and then we made another one, and then like it was gobbling, and you could tell it was closer, so it was coming, and it had moved fast. So he's like, hey, this one's coming, and this one would be great. It was going to have to come up a hill to us, and then it just like either it heard us or it felt us or whatever.
Did you ever see it?
Never saw it.
Never saw
and
it.
then never it stopped responding and was like, nah, dude.
I'm good.
What's interesting to me about it, so like, number one, I could never with a deer. I just me, knowing me, could not. But that one sounds a lot more like you kind of just like sit in a spot where they go and hope it walks by. Whereas this feels like a real cat and mouse chess. Like,
well, the distance close that you have to get makes it formidable because of how close you have to get. Whereas where I grew up, you could hunt deer with a rifle. So you could be a couple hundred yards away and take one out pretty easily. I mean, you could be 300 yards and take them out pretty easily. So that part, I think, that gives you that intimate thing that you're looking for, of like the worthy adversary part of it.
Like Hop said, their sphere of disruption is what he kept calling it, is like 50 yards. So like they're really good at picking up any disruption inside of 50 yards, but that's where you have to be.
Yeah, so these ones are instinctual. They obviously they're used to being hunted and they're prepared for it.
That's why I said when you can get them to think you're there, get the decoys out, and they fall for that, that's it. Or you just, like the other people, you just happen on it.
Just stumble on it, that's it. Yeah.
Like we had one that was over, I think they call them a drift, where there's like kind of like a hill naturally in the valley. And they're very good at always being like behind the drifts.
Yeah.
They're just like, they know how to use it to party. And like, so we would come up and we saw it, didn't see us, and we're like, oh my God, it's like right over this hill. And so we'd back up and then we'd like crawl basically on the ground up there, and then it's gone. And then we go back to our car and guess right back out there again. And then as soon as we'd gone. So like he was messing with us. So me and the
That's pretty good.
Me and the meat dad were like, we're just going into the forest.
Yeah.
And obviously found nothing. But their ability to just disappear into the forest is also kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure that they blend in with anything.
It's weird though, because they're very, I know their coloring it's not black. It's like a lot of brown and some white. But like when you see them from afar on, especially like on the tilled field, which is gold.
Yes.
They look black. Like it is.
Oh, for sure.
Should be a very easy thing to spot.
Yeah.
But not.
Mother Nature took care of them on that side of things.
It was cool though. It was cool.
Man.
I respected.
Well, yeah, it's a fantasy hunt is what you did.
I respected the turn. Well, it was much more about the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the fellowship we had. I saw the greatest, and a lot of the guys played at Wisconsin with him or in his workout group. Some played in the league. Obviously there's Greco, and some other guys from this area. One of the guys was the fireworks guy.
Yeah,
Alex was awesome dude, like great dude. And then I saw like the greatest cornhole player I've ever seen in my life. This guy Kenny was the punter, I think, for the Hoff. Dude, he made, and I'm not exaggerating, this is not an exaggeration, while I watched him play and then had the misfortune of playing against him, he made about 85% in. Like if he didn't have 3 in on a board, it was like,
what happened?
Whoa. And it didn't matter how you blocked it up. He could throw it high. He could throw one that like if the board was covered, he was on the right side and the board was covered on the like right quarter. So you're like, all right, now he can't do it.
Yeah.
He somehow would throw one that came around this way and would go in. He could throw it this way and go in. He could hit it so like he'd knock yours out and somehow knock his in that was under it and knock it. I'm just like, dude, what is going on? Like, this is nuts. I was giving it my all, but it was like we were playing different sports.
This is a different animal.
Yeah, we're playing different sports. Yeah. Kenny, he was really good.
That's very good. Those are your hot topics today, presented by University Hospitals.
Hot. 40 minutes.
Official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. You missed some things last night while you were out, so we'll have a little bit of fun with that. We're off and running. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. It's presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back in Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. I just had lacrosse all weekend, so it wasn't quite as thrilling as what that was. I do have a note. Here's my one note. If you are a food truck at a youth sports event,
make tacos.
They had one of those.
Okay.
I love it. I love a food truck taco, and I'm all for that. But if you are a food truck and you have the ability to make breakfast sandwiches, and there is a line for said breakfast sandwiches, do not stop making the breakfast sandwiches at 10 o'clock.
No, keep them rolling.
Keep those babies
Supply
going.
and demand, baby.
People will suck those down at noon.
Yeah.
That was the number one, and they shut it down. I went,
don't do that.
Keep those going as long as you can.
Yeah.
All right, what do we have? We got some things from you last week. So you and I didn't get to do like schedule game anything.
I offer to let the people know on my
you
way to
did,
Wisconsin.
but I don't. Gibby and I
was,
conferred. There's no reason to bug you.
It was
on
a
your
long
time.
drive. I would have been happy to talk to some people.
Maybe would have got you 20 minutes. You did offer in. I have a window of record for us. I have a window of record.
Okay.
I'm curious if you play it, how close you will be.
Let's do it.
To my window of record.
Okay. Let's see.
I think you're going to be in it.
So like a low side, high side?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
The high and low of what it could be. All right, you ready?
So how do you want me to get high and low? Be like
you can. Well, let's just see what you end up at.
Just my normal.
And then my guess is that you land somewhere within my window.
Okay.
Okay. Bengals at home.
Okay, hold on. That's a win, dog.
Yep. All right. At Ravens.
That's a loss.
Packers at home.
So the way that I'd rather do this, if you don't mind, is this an easier way to do it?
I don't mind at all. You're the franchise. Do whatever you want.
So I think Packers, Lions, Vikings. I think we win one of those.
You did the same thing I did.
So I don't know.
Said I'd rather just do this. I'll look at tranches.
Yeah, in a tranche. So I don't know.
All right. So you're 2 and 3 coming out of Vikings.
Yep, 2 and 3 coming. I
So
think.
then you're at Pittsburgh, Miami, at New England, at Jets are the next 4.
Okay, and then I think we're gonna get. I think lose to the Steelers just because Gibby, we have not seen a regular season win in Pittsburgh, right?
You did.
What?
That was playoffs.
Oh, no, playoffs. That's right.
I've never seen a Steeler. I've never been.
You've never won at Heinz?
Not in the regular
come away
season.
with a win.
I'm just gonna stay with the trend and hope it breaks it.
Yep.
All right, so now we're
Miami
2 and 4.
Miami at home.
I think we're gonna win one of the next 2. Dolphins, Patriots.
Okay.
I think we win one of those. I'll take Miami. We'll say we'll lose to New England, but I think we can win. I think we could win both of those.
All right.
All
Jets.
That's a win.
Okay. Then you are Ravens at home, at Raiders, Niners at home, and then Tennessee at home.
So I think we win. I think we go 2 and 2 in there.
All right.
So win.
So you're at 6
loss,
and 8.
loss.
No, 6 and 7. 6 and 7. I believe is where you're at.
Am I? We were 1, 2, 1 and 3, 2 and 4, 3 and 5. We're
They're 5. 5 and 7.
No, you're right.
6 and 7.
6 and 7. Okay.
6 and 7. And then now you're at Titans, right? Titans at home. Titans at Bears, Bills.
No, that was where we went 2 and 4. So in the Titans, I already
Titans are
got
in that?
Yeah,
Okay.
they were in
All
that.
right. So at Bears.
So there should be 4 games left. Bears, Bills,
Bears,
yeah,
Bills.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think probably. I really think we're gonna. I think 7 and 10, and then I think like our best case scenario is 10 and 7. I think that would be like my ranges.
So the low for you is 7 and 10.
The low is probably, if we're being like totally realistic, is probably 6 and 11. Like I could see us go 1 and 3 in those last 4.
So I said for me the window is between 6 and 11 and 9 and 8.
Okay.
That's so we're in the similar spot.
Yeah, so I was just one more.
Yeah.
And I'm optimistic by nature. So
You are,
being
yeah.
one more to the north is not surprising.
Yeah, but that's it, right? It's a really tough schedule, but there are some winnable pockets, and I do think that the notion, like the reason we brought this up is Cynthia Freeland she ran these processes a billion times, and by her process, we had the most likely to have the worst record in football, and
Well, that's just great.
it was pure joy. So then you say to yourself, well, wait a second now. You are better than you were a year ago. You're going to be competently quarterbacked one way or another.
Yep.
Your defense got better.
Yes.
Absolutely. You now have a quite formidable run game. You now have another big-time weapon in the passing game. You're going to win more than 3 games next year.
I really feel that way.
So
yes.
While I don't think...
We play a very difficult schedule, though.
We do.
I think we have 6 teams that had double-digit wins on our schedule.
And a brutal, brutal division that could get more brutal if Rodgers goes to Pittsburgh.
The north-north part of it is very hard.
Yes.
Well, I have us going 2-4 in the division.
Me too. I had the same ones you do. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati.
Yeah. I know we have split with the Ravens, I think, many years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, maybe we figure out how to do that again. But it's a very tough schedule because what's so hard about it is you line up with – you have the AFC North, you have the NFC North, and that's brutal. Like, all 4 teams in the NFC North are very good. 3 of them won double-digit games a year ago, if I'm not mistaken. And Chicago feels like a vastly improved team.
I think it's the worst. I think it's the most difficult start to a season since I've been doing stuff for the team. So back to 18.
I don't know the last time we thought we're like, and you look at it. And
you went Bengals, at Ravens, Packers, at Lions, Vikings. Like, to me, the Vikings, because I just am not all in on J.J. McCarthy yet. Not that I have anything against him. I just haven't seen him play quarterback in the NFL. So I don't know what he is. But, like, the other 4 of those are brutal.
What I don't like, so last year, the Bengals won 9 games. The Ravens won 12 games. The Packers won 11 games. The Lions won 15. The Vikings won 14.
That's
and
right.
Believe it or not, the Steelers won 10.
Well, what did Miami win? 9 or are they 10?
Miami won 8.
Oh, just 8. Okay.
And then New England 4.
Then it drops off.
Jets 5. And then back to Baltimore's at 12. Yep. But the tough one, and then you have the Bills in there as well, who won. The Bills won 13.
Yeah, your opening stanza and then your closing 4 of at Bears, Bills here, Steelers here, at Cincinnati is brutal. Just utterly brutal.
Plus 5, 15, and 2, plus 13, 14, and 30, plus 11, and 10, plus 3. Your first 6 opponents last year were 8, 13, 26, 37. Your first 6 opponents last year were combined 40 games over 500.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's what I said. It's the toughest start to a season since I've been doing
0-6 is you.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're not going to be a favorite until you probably won't be favored until maybe I don't even know, probably Titans, conceivably.
You could be favored over the Dolphins.
Maybe.
Could be.
Maybe, depending on how they look early.
Could be favored at New England.
And
could
maybe
be favored
the
at
Jets, depending on how things look for the young quarterbacks. But
correct.
But no, I mean, it's possible that you have to wait well into this thing.
Yeah.
Best road trip that is not London or Las Vegas. I'd go to New York.
Yeah, New York. Chicago. New York or Chicago.
I'd go to New York in early November. November 9th, New York.
Yeah, I think New York is right. Yeah, I'm with you.
You can go to one non-divisional home game. Which game are you choosing? Non-divisional home.
Well, that's for me. It would be easy. It'd be the Niners.
It'd be Packers. September 21st, baby. Weather's going to be awesome. I'm not going back end. Give me a dome,
in the dome.
Give me a dome. Then I'm all for you. You need me there in November, December. I'm all for it.
Well, you'll be there.
I'll be there, baby.
We'll get a blimp shot. Don't you worry.
Don't you worry.
Don't you worry.
But no, I like that. I like that Packers game on the 21st. I like that a great deal.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I mean, that's a good one. That's the best one.
All right, we'll go.
It is
daunting.
just and that's why I think people who are out there that are saying, "Oh, we want, you want Shador, you want Gabriel to start right out of the gate." Mm-hmm. If people want that, this is why that's not going to happen. There's just you are going to, whether or not we can win these games, and I have us, winning 2 of them of the 6. You don't want to start a young player's career in a situation where they will be the underdog 6 weeks in a row.
No,
that just doesn't sound like a good for the confidence and all of those things. I still think it's going to be Kenny Pickett to start. I've said that all along.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think, if he shocks the world and plays really well, then you say, oh man, maybe
we're good.
We've got something here. And then if not, I think you're going to have an opportunity to see both Gabriel and Sanders as the season goes on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, there you go. Second hour of the program coming up next. We got a lot to get to around the sports world, kids. We had a major golf championship contested over the weekend. We got a little thing or not a thing, among other things. Second hour on a Monday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Fund your fandom with the Bally Bet Sportsbook app. Download today, get 50 back in bonus bets. You place your first wager of 10 or more. Bally Bet is a official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Last Friday, this was after we went off the air Friday, Brock Purdy agreed to a 5-year, $265, $181 in guarantees. We knew that this was kind of imminent. What were Pedro's thoughts on the deal?
I'm glad you asked. Let's see. We can go to we have a record.
We have a
Turns
record
out,
of it?
yeah, we have a record of it. At first, he thought, let's see. He was actually very into my being at the turkey camp. He was like, that's pretty cool. He was like, you gonna get one of those? Then he said, good read. He gave me an article about him, and then he was very happy. At first, said crazy amount. Wonder what happened to the Brock who wanted to help the team. Guess Lynch should never have hinted that he could play on his $5 million rookie contract. I said, Dad, good for him. I said, it's not even close to top dollar. It's a good deal. I was like,
yeah,
he should get everything.
Of course, yeah.
Help the team. He
did that.
He did that by being
for 3 years.
On the
he
team.
did it. Yeah.
He played for nothing and was buying guys cars even though he didn't have anything. So yeah, good for him. I think it's a great deal for him. I think that if you look at it, 5 years, 181. So it's really kind of like a 3.5-year deal, right? If I'm doing the math right, so that's what, $53 million a year.
Yeah.
So 3 years of that would be 159. So it's really it's like a 3.5-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah, I think it's you have to think it's funny. I think it's hard to have a conversation with him.
Yep.
About him because I think so much of the way we view him is because of where he was drafted. I think if Brock Purdy were a first-round pick, he would compare very favorably to the other guys in the 50 million club. So that's, in fact, probably more so than a lot of them. I mean, that's Goff, that's Tua. Obviously, it's the high-end guys, Burrow, Lamar, Allen.
But they're elite,
right? elite is that. But, the only one of those guys, by the way, over 50, there's only one that's won a Super Bowl, Hurts. That's it.
Yep.
Is the only one in that group that's won it.
Purdy, for his career.
Mahomes is under.
For his career in 36 starts, which is 12 starts a season, is 23-13. He's thrown for 9,518 yards, 64 touchdowns, 27 picks. His career completion percentage is 67.5. His career yards per attempt is 8.9. 8.9 yards per attempt for his career.
Yep.
He led the league in yards per attempt and quarterback rating in 2023 and QBR. He is career 105 quarterback rating. He's very good. He is a very if those are first round numbers, and I'll just compare it to, let's say, the first 3 years.
Trevor Lawrence went number 1 that year. I have Lawrence's up. And now his situation was a lot better than Trevor's.
Yeah.
But the only season Trevor has that's even in the vicinity
is the one he got paid.
Of Purdy is the second one where he went 9-8. He was 66%, 41-13, 25 touchdowns, 8 picks. To me, I think the Goff apples to apples the Purdy apples for apples is Goff. I think they're very similar players.
His
I
first
think
3
they're
years
both
are
really
way
good, better than Goff's.
Yeah.
Goff had a monster year 4.
Year 4 he threw for 46. No,
Yeah.
Year 3 he had a monster year.
3 for Goff.
46, 88, and 32 touchdowns. So Goff in 3 years, let's see, 38 games. All right, 38 games, and I said what, Purdy was 36?
We also have to acknowledge that Goff was going on to a team that was not as good as the one that Purdy went on to.
I think that's fair.
But go ahead.
So Goff in those 3 is 65, 62, 55. So let's call him 62% completions. And he's got 65 touchdowns. He's got 26 picks, and his quarterback rating would be probably in the mid-90s. Purdy was, in that same period of time, 64 touchdowns, 27 picks, basically the same. Obviously, completion percentage is 7.5, and rating is 105. I think Purdy gives you a little more with his legs. We're not saying he gets a ton, but Purdy gives you 480 and 8 touchdowns with his legs. That's definitely going to be more than Goff. What do you think?
I would think, yeah.
Goff gave you in the first 3 seasons Goff gave you 159 and 16, 175 and 4 rushing. So similar.
I think they're really similar players, and I think a lot of the discussion around Purdy is shadowed by where he was picked.
100%.
And people view him as like that he's not as good as what he's been statistically, which is elite. He's really good. Now, if you have the conversation of, I'll just play this game with you. Who in the league right now at the quarterback position would you say is a true elevator of the people around them? I think it's really short list. That's my hint. I think it's a really short list of quarterbacks who make those around them better just by playing.
All right, just give me 1 second.
I think there's a bunch of guys who are I think there are guys who elevate those around him to the nth degree, truly elite. Then I think there's upper middle class, which is really good, middle, and then from there. But I don't have Purdy in that top level.
No, I'm trying to see if I can pull up something right here for the. All right. Year by year, 2024.
I think people think there's a lot more franchise quarterbacks than there are. Like franchise defining face of the franchise, I make everybody around me better. And I think that what people sometimes forget is that to be in the Brock Purdy business, to be in the Jared Goff business, to be in the Jordan Love business, there's a handful of other ones that are kind of in that group. That's a good business to be in. That's winning. You get to play for Super Bowls, get to knock on the door of Super Bowls. You haven't win them, but honestly, of the 4 guys, I guess I just gave it. Of the guys who I put at the very top, only one of them has.
Yeah. I think I probably have.
I think you have. You may have one more than me, but I'm guessing you have the list that I have.
I'll put him as an honorable mention because I think he's in that class.
All right, go ahead. What do you got?
So I've got Allen, Burrow, Mahomes, Lamar, and then my next 2 were Herbert and Stafford.
So I have Stafford ahead of Herbert, just because I need to see Justin win. Now, I think a lot of what happened to him early was Staley, and the incompetence. So I like him, not quite to you, but right there. And then the ones that are like knocking on I think Hurts is closer to that group than he is. I think Hurts is kind of in that next group with. I think Hurts they're different players, but I think he's in the group with like Goff and Love and Purdy. And kind of all those guys. I think the 2 guys I want to see more of, and I think this is a big year for them both, is Jaden Daniels and C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
If Daniels has a great year too, then he can move right up,
right into that
group. Yeah. If C.J. gets back, then he could
be in the conversation.
Because a year ago we would have said he is close to being someone who elevates.
Hurts would have been next for me just because, and we'll find out what they do with the tush push, but just because he makes it 1st and 9
every time.
And nobody else does that. It's 1st and 9.
Yeah.
So to me, that's very impressive. But that's the group. And here's the bad news, folks. They're all in the AFC, with the exception of Stafford.
I just had this discussion this morning from the perspective of, and this is why the Browns went out and acquired Deshaun Watson. Because at the time of acquisition, you're looking around and you're going, I got to deal with 2 of these guys who are elevators in my own division. And then if I am so lucky to win the division, if somehow fortunate, now I've got to deal with Allen and Mahomes if I don't have somebody who can punch at their weight. And at the time of acquisition, Deshaun Watson could. That's like for people why? That's why. That's why it happened. And that's the thing when you look at this. And so when you think about Purdy and people are like, oh, that's too much for him. I'm like, no, he's in the next category.
He is. And people will say, well, it's Shanahan's offense. Look, the fact of the matter is he is as efficient an operator of that offense as we've seen.
He is. Quarterback that offense to a Super Bowl. Like if you want to use the Goff comparison, who I think there's a lot of similarities. One was drafted first and one was drafted last. But in terms of their acumen, the way they go with their business, the way they distribute, Jared Goff's quarterbacked a team to a Super Bowl
Why am I blanking? Who was the Niners have been there twice and lost the Chiefs in 2 games. Quite frankly, they should have won as Garoppolo. Thank you.
Garoppolo actually is the only quarterback from 2014 still in the league.
Yeah, with Carr's retirement.
Mm-hmm. He's the last one.
Teddy might make a comeback.
Yep, he's the last one in the mix. That whole Carr situation, you and I haven't talked about that yet either. That was crazy, how all that escalated as quickly as it did.
Yeah, I guess he's just like.
And now it looks like they're trying to put themselves in position to draft to try to be like, hey, Arch, are you sure you want 2 years at Texas? Come home, son.
They are definitely trying. You can tell that there is a. I've seen our names mentioned as one, given our relationships, obviously, in Tennessee ties. But I've seen our name, and then I've seen the Saints as being like two teams. Could they convince Arch to come out?
Yeah, be going home for him for New Orleans. But look, he could have stayed home for college, and he went to Texas.
Yep.
So you just never know how it's all going to shake out. The Eagles have agreed on a multi-year extension with head coach Nick Sirianni. So you win the Super Bowl, and that makes a lot of sense.
We were there in Week 5. Week 6, because they went 2-2. Then they had their bye. And we were there.
I was just telling these guys this a couple hours ago when we put this rundown together.
They wanted to fire him.
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
He's
yelling at fans
in the stands.
In the stands, like heated words were being exchanged.
Now he wins a Super Bowl, gets an extension, and king of the city. I remember that vividly. Like it was like they were going to run him out of town.
Yeah, we had people on that week that were like, I don't know if he makes it through the season.
Through the
season.
season.
Going.
It's wild.
Well, because remember, to be fair, that 2-2 was also coming off of like 2024.
They started 11-0.
What year is it? 2025 now.
It
So
was
2023, they went like They lost their last like 6 games or 1-6.
They started 11-0 or 10-0, and then lost a bunch.
And then
Bake got them.
Trounced.
Didn't Bake get him?
Trounced in the playoffs.
Yeah. So, he gets a new extension there. In stadium news, the Bears' plans for a new dome stadium have shifted back to the suburbs of Arlington Heights. The team owns the 326-acre property that was previously home to Arlington International Racecourse. The Bears purchased the land in September of 2021, have not begun developing the site, which is supposed to feature restaurants, retail space, and real estate in addition to the new stadium. The change comes a month after the Bears said they were exploring both Arlington Heights and Chicago's lakefront south of the current site of Soldier Field. The Bears' goal remains to begin construction on a new stadium by the end of this year. Kevin Warren is spearheading this.
By the way, 1-6 in their last 7 games for that year. They were 10-1. They beat the Bills in overtime, then they lose Niners, lose Cowboys, lose Seahawks, beat Giants, lose Cardinals, lose Giants, and then lose 32-9 in the playoffs.
Yeah, you had to be close to the to this Arlington. You're in northern suburbs. Arlington Heights is a northern suburb of Chicago.
Yeah.
The reality is, if you're trying to put something near or adjacent to the current Soldier Field site, there just isn't a lot of room.
No.
There's no parking. It's very difficult to try to make it work.
It's hard to get in and out of there.
It's very difficult.
It's hard for the team to get in and out of there even.
That is a hard. It is. Yeah, it's
like we have to go. There's not a lot of room to even get the buses in.
Yeah, it's tight. So
yeah, we're under. I think we're underneath. Yeah, because you exit out onto a main street. Like, it's not like we have to go through, like a lot of times you go through a parking lot, you're working your way. Like, you're out onto a main drag right off the get-go.
Yeah, yeah. So they've had this land for a long time. We'll see what comes of it. I think that the downtown site for them is always going to be just really tricky. There's a lot of components to kind of work through.
By the way, I'm curious anecdotally, because this was something we talked a little bit about at Turkey Camp, and I've talked about it a lot of ways. In my anecdotal experience, everybody's for the dome. Like, people go, I wish it could have been done in Cleveland, but it can't, so give me the dome.
I have not had, and I understand how you'd be skeptical, considering where you and I continue to do this show.
For sure,
this
but
is the God's honest truth. I have not had a single person come up to me and go, you got to be downtown. Not one.
Yeah.
Not a single one. And I get asked about it all the time. I know you get asked about it all the time, like it's part of it, but they're not any.
No.
Never.
No.
People want a great environment to watch a game.
Yeah.
And they want the amenities that you want. I mean, that's by and large what I'm seeing as well. All right, the Seahawks and Colts have warned their season ticket holders about repercussions for selling their tickets to games in 2025. No action will be taken now, but the Colts have said that fans' renewal eligibility may be impacted. In Indy? Brock, you live over there.
Seattle sent the first notice. Indy followed up over the weekend. Stephen Holder was reporting it. He got a copy of the letter and everything.
But who is coming to Indy that they're worried about taking over their stadium?
I don't have
it's
an
not
answer.
I mean, we go for the Combine. You go for NCAA, Big Ten tournaments and stuff, but like, it's not exactly a tourist destination. Same with Seattle, quite honestly. Seattle's lovely, but like, it's hard to get to. Who are they worried about them selling their tickets to? Because am I reading that right? That it's for like selling them to opposing fans?
Correct.
That's what the problem
That's
is?
100% what it is.
Am I missing something?
To me, you want to have your home stadium be a home field advantage, but if you pay for those tickets, they're do whatever you want. If I want to give them to my pal.
Right. This isn't Vegas either, or Miami or some place where it's like a fun road trip. Like it's Seattle, and Seattle's a lovely city, but it's an outpost.
Yep.
You're choosing to go there. You don't stumble into Seattle.
And
I just find it weird to think that either of these would be a problem in either of these towns. No, you give me Miami, Vegas, L.A.
I still think if you're able to,
I agree.
If
I
pay for the tickets,
whatever I want to do,
you can give it to whoever you want.
I agree.
That's your right.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope.
Especially because how are you going to know if they sell their tickets? First of all, if I bought these tickets, that's a sunk cost for me. If I'm not able to go to a game, I absolutely should be able to sell them. In fact, that's why there are all those ticket marketplaces where you can sell tickets.
That the league runs.
Yeah, and make the maximum you want on your investment.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about that earlier. I'm like,
slope.
what if you're a snowbird? What if you you don't go to the cold weather games? Because you're down in Florida. You leave after Thanksgiving.
Yeah. No, it's strange. I find that very interesting that they're both deciding to do that. You want to take a quick break, and then we'll do Around the Sports World with the NBA and the golf and all that?
Absolutely.
All right. We'll do that coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Fan single game tickets are on sale now. Secure your seats today for the top matchups at Huntington Bank Field during the 2025 season. Don't wait. Head to clevelandbrowns.com/tickets now. Is this the least amount of a major you've ever watched? Has to be.
Well, it was not. This wasn't.
I'm guessing it wasn't like, hey, can we put the
no? We got the Knicks game.
Quail Hollow on.
Yeah, we got the Knicks game for Joey Bagels. But
were you able to follow it all? Or?
Yeah, I followed it on. And Greco and I were talking about it. And
yeah.
So we had a good time with that.
We've been doing this time of year for a while now.
Yep.
Is this working?
I don't think so.
Gibbe?
I don't think so.
I like the idea. I don't think it's working.
So their goal is to go April, May, June, July, a major each month.
I liked it in theory because what else is going on right now?
I also thought that course is like.
Is it because we see it so much?
Well, they play a normal tournament there.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think that 14 was cool to watch them play 14, the Green Mile or whatever, 14, 15, 16. But it wasn't like that amazing of a. Parts of it didn't look great on TV. I didn't think.
It looked very normal. It looked like Greater Hartford Open or something like that. It was like, okay, we're playing. I can you imagine being like a member at that place, which I'm sure is an incredibly prestigious place to be a member.
Bebo knows Bebox knows a guy out there who's a member who's like all fired up. Yeah,
and I'm sure he's pissed off because here's all these people saying your course sucks, it's boring, and you're like, well, wait a second, like it's not. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm sure it's just for what you see it so often that we're used to it. I think clearly the reason they did it was for what you said: April, May, June, July, a major every time, and they wanted to get away from the NFL. But I think the one thing that they kind of missed in doing so is, yes, you're getting away from the NFL, but it's NFL preseason and it's at night. You still own the day. You still owned during the day. You owned Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday with it in August.
Yep.
And for my life, you always view this through your own prism, of course. But for me, this is the least major that I can ever watch because I just chase around with the kids all weekend long. I mean, we had 11 lacrosse games this weekend, so I didn't see anything. I wasn't in the mood for it because I feel like we just did the Masters, and this thing just kind of pops in there.
Yeah,
and then. Next week you're in Columbus for the Memorial, which for here locally, not as much as it is down there, but it's still, a relatively big tournament. And then your U.S. Open Father's Day, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, we got the British and we're done. Golf's over for the casual fan. So I don't think it wins. I don't think it wins at all. I don't think it gets accomplished what it wants to. I think it happens in a vacuum.
Yeah, you could have kept it the first weekend of preseason. Because no one plays anybody.
Well, that's what
I'm saying. You could have
even
done
it. Even if it's at 4:00, you're competing with it. No one's playing anybody.
And you're doing NFL preseason at night. You're not doing it in the middle of the day. Like all this stuff's over by 7:00. You're not going head to head with Game 7.
Game 7 of the Nuggets Thunder. Yeah,
you're not
which happened to be a route, but yes.
Right, but you're not going head to head with that. You don't have, in our part of the country where a great amount of the population is in this part of the country, the Northeast, and we are Northeast. You think like it's our first bit of spring. People are getting out and about and they're trying to do things. You want to go and all. It just doesn't fit for me at all this time of year. And I don't know. My guess is ratings wise,
I kind of like that it goes from Augusta. You get to bask in that for a little while. Then it's like, all right, Father's Day, U.S. Open.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going overseas to the British.
Yeah,
which is my favorite.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
And then you get the PGA to kind of round it out. It was always kind of lost being fourth but I do think that the fourth one should be here on U.S. soil.
I agree. And I also I'll push back a little on thinking.
Second, it's totally lost. I think it's totally lost.
I don't think it is lost the fourth because it was like, all right, this is our last chance for a major of the year.
Yep.
We all got to pay attention to it.
That made it more juice.
And in some instances, like for our formidable golf viewing lives, it was Tiger trying to either win his third or the second of three or the second of what would be the Tiger Slam. There was always can Tiger finish this year so that when he goes to Augusta next year, he's getting another one. So there was always that to it. Like this thing came and went and it was gone. Scotty Scheffler just incredibly he's a machine. Just as a player, he's just a machine.
He is, but he was at one point, if you just looked at the end, you would be like, Oh man, it was a rout. He
Well,
struggled for a second. He got to 1,
and then
Rahm was tied with him.
Johnny Rahm spit the bit as big as
and
you
then
can.
just complete collapse.
Yeah, him and DeChambeau kind of let us down because this wasn't Scotty running away with it. He just, but he's so steady. His misses aren't huge. You don't ever see him do. I don't remember the hole it was on where DeChambeau just straight up shot it. It was a par 3, and he just put it over into the water. Like you never see Scotty do that. Like just an unforced error.
Yeah.
DeChambeau did that on Saturday when I was watching. It was on the back, and he was kind of in the mix, and he just put it in the drink. He just hit it over the green into the water, and it's like you missed that by 20 yards. Like you never see Scotty do that.
The crazy thing with Scheffler, I think his first 8 drivers 7 were bad in the rough left, and he still somehow was able to be like 1 over through that point.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he drains the birdie putt, and then it's just like off to the races.
Rocket ship from that point.
I don't know. It's you and I talked about it. The first 2 days outside of Scheffler, we were like, I appreciate it. Everybody's got a family to feed.
There was nobody.
There was no one on that leaderboard.
No. A lot of them missed the cut. I mean, a lot of the guys that you expect to go.
What's going on with this driver stuff, too?
So Rory's driver was deemed non-conforming. It doesn't mean that it was an illegal driver. It just means that most likely after all the hits on it, the face was.
I think Scheffler's
not
was
in a
too
way.
this weekend.
Yeah, Scheffler got hit by that too.
That just means that they just need to get a new head.
Yeah.
It just means like they've hit it so much that they can. It makes it basically be non-conforming because they have thousands. I think the ball speed, how much they're hitting the golf ball. So it's probably like it could be conforming. One swing could take it in the middle of a round. Could take it from conforming to non-conforming.
Yeah.
Like it just is where you get to that point. So people are looking at it way too much.
I'm going to tell you this.
Way too much.
On the ice and on the hardwood, I feel like I can pretty strongly make this case. So the NBA conference finals are Wolves, Thunder. In the East, it's Pacers, Knicks. I don't think there is a single team left in the NBA that people who are not from that town root for. I don't know a single Knick fan who is not from New York. Not one. They're not like the Bulls or the Warriors or the Lakers or the Celtics. Like, if you're from New York, you like the Knicks. Nobody jumps on a Knicks bandwagon. Ever. None. I can't think of a single one.
I'll root for the Knicks in this just because for my boy D-Strom.
Well, that's fine.
He's going to be at all the games. He's all
but
fired up.
I think that this is going to be a ratings disaster in the NBA. OKC and Minnesota. The kids like SGA and they like Anthony Edwards a lot. He's easily the most popular among the kids. Who's left is him. But I don't know any Timberwolves fans outside of people from Minnesota, and I don't know any Thunder fans outside of people from Oklahoma City. Jake Trotter, and with Indy, it's just they're not a bandwagon team. They're this huge fan base, and the same is true of the NHL. It's Panthers, Canes in the East because Florida beat Toronto yesterday, so that's in the East, and in the West, it's Edmonton and Dallas. I mean, Edmonton has the best player in McDavid, but that's as big an outpost as there is in North American sports is Edmonton.
Edmonton Oilers?
How far that is north? That's 500 miles. I grew up northern Montana near the border. It was 500 miles north from where I grew up. That's 8 hours, kids.
Yeah.
Long ways.
Is it crazy that they've had
great.
that franchise though has had greats?
Gretzky and McDavid and Messier and it's crazy. Yeah, totally is.
I feel like the Hartford Whalers should have had more superstars.
It's a great sweater.
God, Hartford the Whale.
The Whale. Yeah.
Sad.
No, but in both it's kind of like I think it's going to be really hard to gain attention from folks. These are not bandwagonable situations at all. Knicks and anybody would probably be what the NBA is hoping for because I think they could probably sell either one of it. Like I mentioned, Anthony Edwards is most popular among the kids. Brock, what do you got? Who are you rooting? Oh, you got Indy. Are you going Pacers? Pacers? Yeah.
I think Knicks. Yeah, if the Knicks come out of the East,
J-Mac says
it'll
he's
be
a
good
Knicks
finals.
Is he really a Knicks fan?
He says
Give me the 98 starting lineup they ran out against the Spurs.
I'm only going to be able to give you one name.
Jalen Brunson?
No, not for the team. I'm talking about the 98 team.
Sprewell?
Well, I was going to go Ewing.
Ewing was not on that team. That's the Ewing theory. You're not a Knicks fan?
Yeah, that's the Ewing theory.
98.
98.
It's like the route running.
Sprewell.
Allen Houston.
Gibby just got to go. It's like the route running.
Definitely bandwagon.
Allen Houston.
Yeah, it was Allen Houston, Larry Johnson, Latrell Sprewell. I think Anthony
Was Mace
Mason
still
was
there?
still on that
Yeah.
team.
Yep. Charles Smith, maybe?
He maybe still was.
98.
Marcus Camby.
Camby.
Marcus Camby was the big.
Okay.
Out of
Yeah.
UMass.
They lost to the Spurs with Duncan and or no. Did they have Duncan at that point? I don't think they did. I think it was David Robinson. It had to be
They
Robinson
did not
and
have
Duncan.
It was 99.
99 Knicks.
98, 99.
99. My boy Antonio Daniels from Bowling Green was the point guard.
All right, here's your
Here it is.
I got
it's
it.
a 99 Knicks, right?
99 finals. Yeah, 98, 99
50 and
Knicks.
Actually,
32.
AD
Jeff,
won there, yeah.
Jeff Van Gundy.
Yep.
I don't think.
They had, let's see.
I think we have it.
Yeah,
Sprewell,
Sprewell was
Houston.
18.6. Houston, 19.7 All-Star. Ewing gets hurt after 62 games and is out, but he averaged that year 15 points and 10 boards. Larry Johnson was 11 points a game. They had Charlie Ward,
Chucky Ward.
Marcus Camby, Kurt
Yeah.
Thomas,
AD was the point guard for the Spurs.
Chris Childs.
Was he? Yeah.
That was the year. It wasn't the season shortened because
It
of
was.
the strike.
Strike
It was 50
shortened.
games.
Yeah, that was the year before. Exactly.
Because Jordan won it in 97, 98 with the Bulls, and this was the next year after he retired.
Yep.
The Knicks and the Pacers played in the Eastern Conference Finals that year. Here are the final scores of the NBA Finals that year for perspective. Game 1, Spurs 89,
63-47.
Knicks 77. Game 2, Spurs 80, Knicks 67. These are finals, Young B, for the kids. Knicks 89, Spurs 81. Game 4, Spurs 96, Knicks 89. Game 5, the deciding Game 5 was a thrilling 78-77. 78-77 was the Game 5 as the Spurs won in 5 in that series. So, all right, we'll do a little we're doing a little thing or not a thing, Gibby. Is that what we got coming up?
Yes, sir.
All right, we got a little thing or not a thing coming your way next. Just to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Back for Season 2, Junior Browns Backers, presented by UH Rainbow Babies and Children's in association with Cardinal Credit Union. The Cleveland Browns official kid club is gearing up for another season of fun. Ages 4 to 12, give your kid a season full of Browns memories with exclusive gear, experiences, events, and plenty of surprises all season long. Visit juniorbrownsbackers.com today for more information. Time for a little thing or not a thing. Hello, Gibby.
Hi, gentlemen. Real quick, that 98-99 Spurs roster that beat the Knicks 4-1. My guy, AD. Tim Duncan was on the team.
Sean Elliott at
Mario
the 3.
Ellie, Sean Elliott,
Mario Elliott's just
Avery
always
Johnson,
around.
Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr, yeah, of course he was on that team.
So Avery was so your boy Antonio Daniels was the 6th man, or was he the starting 2?
No.
Avery was the one.
He would have been the backup.
So he came in and was like the combo guard coming off the bench because it was Avery Johnson, Elliott, Duncan, Robinson, and then who was the other guard?
So
you know who it was? You ready for this, kids? It's a Vinny Del Negro. I bet you Vinny Del Negro.
Not on the roster.
Really?
No.
Hold on.
Jerome Kersey was on the team. Will Perdue, David Robinson, Malik Rose, Brandon Williams.
This team was all about Malik Rose, a late Jerome Kersey, late in his career.
I think Mario Ellie would have been the
Jackson.
shooting guard.
The leading scorer was Duncan, averaged 27.4 for the series. Robinson was 16 point. Duncan averaged 27.4 points and 14 boards. Robinson was 17 and 12. Ellie was the third leading scorer at 11.6. Avery Johnson 9.2. Sean Elliott 8 points per game. Jaren Jackson 6.6. Antonio Daniels played 23 minutes across 4 games.
So games started. Duncan, Johnson, Elliott, and then obviously Robinson, and then Mario Ellie was the other one. And then Jaren Jackson started 13. So Mario Ellie did start the majority of the games he played.
In the finals, the starting lineup was Avery Johnson, Ellie, Elliott, Robinson, and Duncan. They started all
Vinny
5
Del
games
Negro,
in the
they
finals.
jettisoned the year before.
Yeah, they started all 5. And it actually was, you were right, it was the 98-99. It was the shortened, truncated season that they met in the finals.
Yep.
The 2000 finals was Pacers-Lakers.
That I remember well.
Which was Shaq, Kobe, Glenn Rice, Ron Harper, Robert Orr, Big Shot Bob. And the starters were Shaq, Kobe, Rice, Harper, and A.C. Green. Shaw started one.
Green still started?
He still started. He started all 6 games. And Brian Shaw started 1 game for Kobe. Kobe didn't miss one of the games in that championship series. He only played 5 games. Shaq averaged 38, 17, 2.5 assists, and 3 blocks a game. Kobe was 15, 4 and 4. Glenn Rice was 12, and Ronnie Hoppa was 11 and 5 on the assists.
People have no idea how dominant Shaquille O'Neal was.
38, 17, and 3 blocks. He shot 61% from the floor and 38% from the line in that series.
They won in 5?
Yeah. Glenn Rice shot 63% from 3 in that series and 40% from the field. How do you do that?
I have no idea.
Rick Fox was 62% from 3. Derek Fisher was 58% from 3. Big Shot Bob was only 20% from 3, but I guarantee it was a big one.
It was a big one, baby.
And then the Pacers were led by Reggie Miller, Jalen Rose, Austin Crozier, the Duncan Dutchman, Mark Jackson, and then Dale Davison. They had Travis Best, Sam Perkins on the bench.
Yeah.
That was a good team, too.
Yeah, not bad. All right, Gibby.
Thing or not a thing, rapid fire.
Go.
Best landing spots for remaining free agents from ESPN's Matt Bowen. Keenan Allen, he has Arizona Cardinals. Thing or not a thing?
Not.
Julian Blackmon,
I'll say it's a thing.
To
They
Buffalo.
need like a little slot guy. Julian Blackmon, I thought he was maybe going to be a Brown.
I'm going to go thing on
Thing,
that one.
sure.
I like him. Yeah.
So you think Keenan Allen could be a thing?
Yeah, I do.
Wide receiver Amari Cooper, New York Football Jets. Thing or not a thing?
Not a thing.
I don't think that feels like a thing.
Running back J.K. Dobbins, the Commies.
Not a thing. They've got a good thing going right now. Brian Robinson's the hammer. Eckler's the small guy.
Yeah.
I like their duo.
Going to jump down to Asante Samuel Jr., Miami.
I say thing because aren't the Dolphins trying to trade Jalen Ramsey and then they would need a corner?
Yep.
Yes. Safety Justin Simmons, Tampa Bay.
I haven't really thought about it.
Not a thing.
Perfect.
I like Zadarius the Lions. That's a thing.
He liked it there. He was bouncing around. He's very excited.
Still
no Rodgers, by the way.
Still none.
Still none.
None. Just take your time.
Crazy.
Take your time.
It's crazy.
Do whatever you need to do. We're willing to wait.
This is one
I can't believe that organization
that's what I've been
is
saying.
willing to wait.
That's why
I hope I'm wrong on this.
I hope he goes there because he's going to screw it all up.
hope it's the other way, and I hope he doesn't. If he doesn't go there, then they are going nowhere because they're not going anywhere with Mason Rudolph. But if he does, I think he's going there, and I think it's known. I think that's the only way it makes sense for me. If he does, I hope I'm wrong on this, and he says no, because for that organization to do this all this offseason with no backup plan is crazy.
Yes. Top 3 trade fits from Matt Bowen. Jair Alexander, corner to the Los Angeles Chargers.
I'm fine with that. I like Hendrickson to Green Bay, though. I do like that.
Yeah.
Get him out of here.
Get him out of here.
That. And
Ramsey?
then he's got Jalen Ramsey to the Rams.
So
they know him.
It would send him back there,
know him.
and then it does make you wonder, like, if the Rams are kind of loading for it here. Because you start looking around the NFC, and the NFC West is a little down from what it's been. One more run.
I like that.
Stafford.
No, I like it.
Let's make a run at
Yep.
it. Devontae Adams. Yeah. Yeah. That makes a little bit of sense.
Thing or not a thing?
There you go.
Fire.
There you go. Are we so much more to come? Is that where we are?
Let's go.
All right, so much more to come. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Was the Preakness a big hit at the hunt camp? Did anybody watch the Preakness race?
So they did, but it was on while we were back out.
Oh, back
on Saturday, right?
Pretty
it was
thrilling.
Like Saturday afternoon.
It was 6:50 Eastern, so
we were still
5:50
out.
your time.
And then I may have been running into the spring.
That could have been when the
dude. That was just a shock to the system.
Yeah, that is
50-degree water, and I don't think it was 50. Like I think it was colder than that.
Even though, I mean, even as it takes a minute to slowly get the pool up to a temperature that the kids will jump in, and even like
1 minute.
even 70.
70's cold
when you're not. Like to just jump in, or like in the ocean. Yeah, we were in Southern California, and the water was like 72, and it was like, just don't feel no 72.
Yeah, and 50. Yeah,
it's cold. 50's cold, man. It's really cold. That was awesome. Great stuff. So we have the Hoff tomorrow for his side of the tale. We look forward to that. Very exciting. The next level is coming up next. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns.